I'm Panicast. It is day number 2 of the finals. I am joined by Duncan Brawl Stars. Hope you guys are excited. We had a plethora of insane matches yesterday. 4 of them, in fact, which was pretty interesting. First up, we had, what was it? I believe it was Humble versus Heretics. Yeah. Humble versus Heretics, which went to double match point situation. Every single set was really, really close. Then we had Reply Totem winning against SK Gaming in a 3-1 scoreline, which was kind of unprecedented considering the current prowess of SK Gaming. Then we had SK Gaming knocking out Team Heretics, the first team to get knocked out. Now we're gonna be seeing SK Gaming versus Reply Totem, as Reply Totem lost in the upper bracket finals against Humble. So this is going to be an elimination game right now between SK Gaming and Reply Totem. So it's a very important match here for them, because the winner of this is going to be progressing on to the grand finals to take on Humble, who are, I guess, the last boss in almost every single LAN event now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they've been undefeated throughout their 9 matches that they've played in OWN. They have yet to lose a single one. So that is pretty unprecedented as far as third-party tournaments go. Humble has absolutely been dominating the competition so far, but both of these teams that are going to be playing in our lower bracket finals today have given Humble a run for their money. They've both played fantastic Brawl Stars throughout day 1 of our playoffs here, and I feel like they've got a lot to prove right now. They definitely want to be qualifying for that top 2 match, and although it is going to be extremely difficult to beat Humble 2 times in a row, both of these teams are going to be up for the challenge. They're going to give it their all here today, Panda.
Yeah, for sure. And yesterday we witnessed SK Gaming suffer a crushing defeat against these same opponents, while SK narrowly managed to survive by the skin of their teeth. The road ahead grows increasingly treacherous, with the chances of survival dwindling by the day. That said, Reply Totem isn't out of the woods either, as this lower bracket match means that the loser is eliminated from the competition. At this level of esports, there really is no room for error, Duncan. And if you give Totem an inch, they'll likely take a mile and then some. They've demonstrated brilliance in clashing with primal unpredictability, and right now it's unclear if SK is truly prepared for that chaos that Totem promises to unleash on the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, they met yesterday, and SK definitely had their work cut out for them. After winning set number 1, they lost 3 in a row to Reply Totem. They did answer fantastically well in the lower bracket semis, though, by kind of dominating Team Heretics a little bit with a 3-1 set victory over them. So although they have already lost to Totem in this tournament, they definitely have kind of bounced back since then, and they're going to be looking to bring that momentum into their rematch right here. But can't be a good taste in their mouth since yesterday's defeat against Reply Totem. Definitely going to have a lot to play for now.
Indeed, and this is a double elimination tournament. I know that a lot of people might be confused about this. This might be your first ever introduction to such a format, but as the name suggests with the name of the format, it is a double elimination tournament. So each team has 2 lives here in this tournament, and if they lose twice, they're out. So Team Heretics lost in the upper bracket, and then they lost in the lower brackets, which is why they're out. Now these teams, SK and Reply Totem, have lost 1 game each, and they're at the, they have their backs against the walls. But here, if they win, they are going to be going up against Humble in the upper bracket, which is a team which hasn't lost a single match in this tournament. So since it is a double elimination tournament, if they happen to lose the grand finals, there is going to be a bracket reset where you're going to have the winner of this match going up against Humble once more to figure out who is going to be crowned the kings of Valencia.
Yeah, and although it does seem pretty daunting to beat Humble 2 times in a row, if you can beat them once, you can beat them twice, and you would have the momentum on your side right there. So even though the double elimination definitely favors the upper bracket grand finalists, which is going to be Humble in this case, it's definitely not it's not like it's impossible to defeat them 2 times in a row. With that momentum, it's going to be a pretty important thing right there. So all these teams know that these final 3 teams, any one of these 3 could walk away here being our OWN Valencia champion. Lots to play for. I know both of these teams are going to be super excited, and it looks like we only have a little bit longer before we get into our game.
Indeed, and it is a $10,000 prize pool tournament. So first place is gonna get $5,000, second gets $2,500, and third gets $750. Team Heretics as well gets a $750 prize tag, but you know, honestly, you want to win this one because your prize is going to go from 750 to guaranteed $2,500. So really a lot of money is on the line here for both of these teams, and they're going to be duking it out on a series of maps here today, Duncan. For SK Gaming and Reply Totem, they have Triple Dribble, Dry Season, Bell's Rock, and if required, we're gonna have Dueling Beetles and Double Swoosh. But that's only if teams are gonna be forcing each other in sets number 4 or number 5.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen a single sweep throughout our first day of the playoffs right here. So definitely expecting at least a 4th set. Hopefully we get that banger 5th set that we saw in our Humble versus Heretics game yesterday. I mean, we started off hot yesterday, so we might as well start off hot again today. But talking about the maps that we're playing on here, we're going to start off with Triple Dribble, which is probably going to be the most aggressive meta out of all of the maps that we have here. Then we're going to move into our Bounty and our Knockout maps. So switching from that aggressive, fast-paced brawl ball action to a little bit more control-based bounty, KD style of gameplay. And then, if necessary, the 4th and 5th set, we'll have our hot zone and our gem grab. So a little bit of everything in today's map pool. We are going to start off, though. We've got our first draft pulled up, and it is Triple Dribble, as we previously mentioned, with our bans coming in soon, Panda.
Indeed, and Triple Dribble, if you just look at it on your screen right now, you have some grass, you have these walls as well. And it's going to give you a lot of different opportunities, right? In the open lane, you're probably going to have brawlers like B, Gus, more of the long range threats which are going to be brought into the fray. On the other side, you're probably going to have tanks or maybe some kind of an aggressive brawler that can do really well around walls, and things like Shade are really good here. Kenji as well with the dash in / dash out combination is also a great shout. We're going to look at our bans. They're going to be Lumi, Willow, Kaze, Larry, and Lori. And we have Jae Young and Juju rounding out all of these bans, Duncan.
Yeah, something we've seen in the past on this map is that if teams are going to go with those throwers early, it's not going to be like the more common throwers that we see like Barley and Dynamite. It's typically going to be Larry and Willow because they have more defensive capabilities against tanks and against aggro. So I think that's why we see Larry banned. I think that's why we see Willow banned. But Reply Totem with the first pick is going to go for none of that thrower action. They're going to go big, they're going to go heavy, and they're going to take the fat fish, Mr. Hank himself. SK Gaming is going to answer the aggression of the Hank with a very strong tank counter being the Lou, and as well as another tank being Jackie. She did recently get her HP nerfed a little bit, so going to be a little bit weaker in the meta as of right now, but she still has a good amount of abilities to be able to deal with that Hank, and I think that the Lou is a pretty great pick as well.
Yeah, for sure that Lou is going to be shutting down, I guess, the entirety of the field when it puts down its ice rink, and Hank is going to be a little bit of a problem, but you know, the Lou kind of addresses that situation. Jackie also a pretty strong tank all around. It is interesting that people aren't opting for the Doug, but you want to have a goal scoring kind of a strategy in your mind, and the pull from Jackie allows you to do exactly that. Also the fact that if you just clump up, Jackie's gonna run through you, so I don't think this is a bad decision by SK Gaming by any means, but that Barley still puts me at pause though.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Jackie pick is decent. Speaking of goal scorers, though, Reply Totem grabbing one of their own with the mouse here. The Mo pick is definitely not something that we see very often. We've seen Tribe Gaming NA pull this pick out, and it has been relatively successful if played correctly, but definitely going to be a little bit weak to the Jackie once the Mo is in his driller form. SK is finishing up their draft with a Kenji as well, so lots of aggression coming out from them as we are into game number 1 of our lower bracket finals. We're going to have Joker manning the Kenji over here, trying to get some good damage and supercharge off of Maru and Mari, but he is going to be the first one to fall. Yoshi will follow after, and the initial defense from Totem is holding strong.
Indeed, and it seems like SK are really going to be depending on the double tank combination and configuration that they have, and going to go up against that Barley being, which is going to be a huge menace for them. But now we're going to see Totem being a very aggressive opposition in a very opportune position. They get the kill on a 1, but Yoshi is going to be taken down. Ope is the last one alive. The ball's surely going to be a pass to Angel Boy, and Mario collects the ball, is just going to be able to walk it in with all of that health that he has, and within 40 seconds, Reply Totem on the board.
The positioning and timing of the pushing from Reply Totem has just been fantastic so far. SK's kind of just been going up and dying one by one. Totem is holding the backline extremely well, but they are being pressured back right now. The bubble from Maru is going to miss, and he's falling quite weak. Yoshi might go for the play here, and he manages to suck 2 of the people, but not able to secure the goal. Angel Boy is going to use his utility to get the ball as far out of Totem's side of the field as possible. Great defense from Totem. Definitely thought that the Jackie might have been able to slot that one in there, Panda.
Yeah, for sure. I just really like the way Angel Boy was able to obviate appreciate a lot of the aggression which is brought in by SK. Now we have the hypercharge from Mori doing a little bit of the same work for Reply Totem, but Totem are not in a great spot right now considering how much they are being pressured back. But Joker tries to go in onto Mori but gets humbled almost immediately. Ball being passed up to Mori on the right hand side though. Mori is in an awkward position. He has to hold back Joker, but it's not an easy opposition to go up against by any means for Barley.
Yeah, Barley and the Kenji matchup is a little bit of a nightmare, but Mari's doing a great job just laying down the ground in front of him to make sure that that gap cannot be closed by Joker. Ope is going to try his luck over on the left side here with the ball, passing it over to Yoshi's side, but Mari's got that big bubble. He's actually going to be using the slow bubble gadget as well, but Angel Boy looked like he was going in for a goal opportunity there, not going to be able to secure it, so the ball is sitting on that Lou ice rink. It's going to be a little bit difficult for Totem to retrieve it, and indeed SK has the ball, but with less than 30 seconds left, they just lose a member and they just have no motion out of this corner right here, Pan.
Yeah, and somebody used to tell SK that the SK special is when you corner the ball after you get a goal, not when you conceded a goal. So that's a little bit unfortunate. 11 seconds left. SK are moving it up. It's now or never. And honestly, I think SK could possibly do this. Oh, the ball's being passed up. Oh, missed pass by Yoshi. And that is going to be enough for Reply Totem to get game number 1. I really think that would have been an equalizing opportunity for SK had they managed to, you know, execute perfectly in that moment.
I kind of fully agree with that. I honestly thought that they were going to get the fast break layup to tie up the game and take us into overtime, but didn't end up happening. So we're going to be going into game 2. Totem takes the first game of the day. It's got to feel good for the momentum for them, but Joker is going to be going up, trying to get his supercharged immediately here. Maru's got a slow bubble with this next attack, so he's likely going to be trying to land that onto Yashi or Joker. Indeed, he does hit Yashi, and Angel Boy and Mario are going to be able to actually combine for that kill. But the next person to fall is Maru. Angel Boy's going to have to play some good defense right here. He goes in with the Mo Driller, and he is able to secure 1 kill. Might even be able to get a second. That is great defense from the Mo pick.
Honestly, I'm surprised by how strong Totem are right now. They're showing us why they are a team to be feared. Big super coming in from Joker, not getting the value that he's looking for. He is contending with Maru on the left-hand side. Now he tries to get something from Mori, but all he gets is 6 feet under. Now the ball's going to be passed up by Angel Boy. Nice suck coming in from Yoshi to make it a little bit more interesting, but can they manage to pull off the defensive play? They do. Mori collects the ball, soft this one in, and SK Gaming caught napping once more.
It looks like they had the defense sitting strong right there, but Mori just decided that he was going to push it through himself, even being the weakest member of his team on the Barley. And now Maru's going for a fast break here. Ope is going to have no choice but to pop the hypercharge to prevent a goal there. Now Angel Boy is the lone man on defense for Reply Totem. He has his super, but he is not choosing to go in on anybody yet. Not really a super great target outside of Ope. Yoshi might consider going for the goal, but it's not going to be happening quite yet. Mario's going to be defending Joker, but he's got that super online. But once again, this Reply Totem defense has just not been penetrated yet.
Yeah, I think Joker just decided not to use that super in the situation, probably because he's close to his hypercharge. You know, you want to get those double or triple sucks in. He's going in now. He gets his super, but, you know, no hypercharge there. Jackie going in. Ooh, but Angel Boy managed to push the ball, slot it in as well after using that super. That's going to be a quick second game and a quick first set for Reply Totem. They've already taken SK down a peg.
That was a surprising turn of events right there. I did not really expect all that much out of the Mo pick, but I do know that the mobility is fantastic for scoring goals, and we didn't see it in game number 1. But in game number 2, Angel Boy was dialed in. He was able to get that slot right there. So well played to Totem. I feel like the drafts were relatively even right there, but it was just clean gameplay. They held their defensive line together so fantastically, and they chose the right times to go in, whereas SK seemed like they were a little bit all over the place on the offensive end.
Yeah, it did seem like you didn't see SK coming together as one unit. There were a lot of misplays in game number 1, especially towards the end where they could have possibly equalized. And, you know, at this moment, right, like I mentioned earlier at the start of the preamble, if you give Totem an inch, they are going to take a mile and then some, and that's what they did. Right now, they have a big advantage going into this next round here because they already got the first set win. They just need 2 more and they go and progress against Humble. Obviously though, SK is not going to let that happen, and they're not going to be caught sleeping hopefully in this next set here on Dry Season.
Yeah, hopefully that first round loss woke them up a little bit, because it doesn't seem like they're super ready for today. But I mean, Totem, I feel like when you're in LAN 2, momentum is even more of a real thing than it is on online tournaments. Like when you can see your opponents across from you, you see what type of energy they're feeling, and Totem obviously has to be a little bit more excited than SK right now. But we have our bans for Dry Season in. SK is going to ban out Jae Young, Gus, and Byron. Reply Totem opting to ban the Jae Young as well as Kaze and Hank here. So only 5 brawlers banned out. Not a particular amount of range that has been eliminated from the mix right here.
Oh,
And it seems like we're getting a little bit of a ban shuffle here, Pan.
I think those are the bans.
I
This
think
is
that's probably
probably
the
the first
pick, right?
pick. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of an issue in terms of the overlay. Yeah, there we go. So I think it's probably the first pick, Gene, coming in from SK Gaming. That makes a lot
There
more
we go.
sense. On the other side, you know, you want to go pull for pull, right? So you're probably going to have Gray coming out as a result. Obviously, Gray is not as good as he used to be in the previous meta just because the other brawlers have been buffed a lot. And wow, we have Mortis along with Mr. P coming out. Mr. P, classically one of the best options into the Gene. Obviously, any single target brawler is going to be suffering against the hegemony of Mr. P. But the Mortis is a very interesting pick. It is also quite early, but we have to see how Reply Totem round on this composition. SK Game have the next 2 picks.
Yeah, I do find it a little bit early for the Mortis pick, especially considering Gene does have a knockback gadget, but kind of just taking that Mortis ensures that the Gene won't be able to rock with the Vengeful Spirits. So maybe that's what they're going for. They're also going to be drafting Carl and Bell into the composition for SK. So they want to keep up their range just kind of as is customary on Bounty. But the Bell does offer a lot in terms of the Mortis too, because if the Mortis comes in, the Bell is going to be able to get that mark for free and kind of connect that onto the Mortis and just keep him weaker for the rest of the game. So that is a pretty decent counter, but not really anything that explicitly hard counters the Mortis pick. Reply Totem choosing to finish out their draft here with Illumi as well. So taking one of the most broken brawlers in the game, even though she is a lot weaker now with her range nerf, still a pretty solid brawler overall.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yes, the range nerf makes Lumi a lot like less potent as a threat, but that super is something that is going to be very scary, especially in the dying moments of a match when SK are all huddled up, maybe behind a wall or something. So that's something to think about if you're SK Gaming. I mean, you have to play it quite perfectly, but I feel like they have a pretty standard composition for a mode such as this. We're going to go into our second set here. Totem took the first one, Duncan.
Yep, and we're going to see Angel Boy using that Mortis mobility to immediately take that blue star and get the lead initially for the side of Totem. Now Angel Boy is going to have to kind of play the waiting game. He is not going to be going in while they have the lead, so SK is going to be on the offensive here. Mori is just going to leave his Morning Stars out there and wait for an opportunity to pop that Ice Gadget, but so far, it's going to be a game of poking until Ope gets his super.
Oh yeah, this is very annoying for people who are not initiated with pro players and how esports is done. It's a lot of poking, it's a lot of, you know, trying to get your utilities online, and in this, I guess, iteration of the game, it's about getting your hypercharge, the purple button, and obviously your gadgets as well. So now we have the Mr. P Porter coming down, which means that the hypercharge is probably going to be on the way. We have about another minute and surely should be there at that point, but right now I think Ope might be close to getting his pull.
He's got to be somewhat close at this point, but it's definitely very early for Maru to have his porters, so not the best of looks for SK. It's going to be so distracting, and they're obviously not going to be charging any type of super off of those porters, so just going to be distracting their ammo, wasting their time. We see Mori's actually getting some good damage off on Ope. He's going to have to fall back. He really does want that pull, but he finally is going to have it now. Angel Boy is ready to dash away if necessary, but Joker's actually going to be going in on Maru. That's going to be the first elimination of the game. Ooh. Angel Boy is next to fall, and just like that, SK is retreating with a 3-star lead, including the blue star.
A beautiful start coming in, sorry, a response coming from SK Gaming. Only 30 seconds left for Reply Totem to get a response in here. But right now they're looking quite scary as they are in a very aggressive position. But Angel Boy obviously has no bats really set up yet, so it's going to be hard. Another very aggressive turret coming down with 15 seconds. It's now or never. Ope very low. Angel Boy trying to go in. He almost gets caught out. Big stun. Double kill though on the side of SK. Joker going in for the hunt. And he should be able to get this kill. It is a big win for SK despite what we thought towards the end. That is going to be SK on the board finally in this matchup.
Yeah, one of the things that we didn't really mention is once SK does get the lead, they're going to have so many of those bell traps already on the field. We saw Angel Boy tripping over a ton of those when Totem was trying to come back at the end right there. So SK getting that lead is going to be absolutely massive for them. It does seem like they're going to have to wait for Ope to get that pull, which is going to take a majority of the game. But if they're able to connect that or get a kill with the flying hook like we saw from Joker, it's just not really going to be able to defend themselves. So we're going to go into game number 2 right now. SK did take game number 1. And once again, the same start. Angel Boy grabbing that blue star. SK is going to be aggressing quite heavily now, trying to get those supers online.
Indeed, and right now we have the Lumi gadget as well. It's going to add a little bit of a hindrance. Obviously, Ope is going to be the biggest operator for SK. He's going to be opening up the initiation once he gets to super. So once more, at around the 50-second mark to 45-second mark, you should expect Ope to be equipped with a super, if not slightly later. I think that might be what SK are trying to do again. This time, though, Reply Totem need to ensure that they don't lose a member. Otherwise, they're going to be playing right into SK's hands, and obviously that's not what they want.
Yep, now that Joker has super, we know that he has this flying hook gadget, so he's gonna be waiting to see if he can catch Mori or Maru out by themselves. If there's two people, it's gonna be difficult for Joker to go in and get that kill and get out, but one person, he can pretty much take out anybody with that tailspin super with the Carl. Joker's gonna be aggressing a little bit right here. Ope, once again, no super online right now, but both of his teammates are supered up, so they have good defensive capabilities, but not too much on the offensive end. The porters are online as well from Maru, and he's even got another porter station if this one happens to get taken out by the Bell, which indeed it does.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning, but once more, we have another porter up. It's going to be taken out almost immediately by Yoshi. Ope has a pull, and that is great right now. 25 seconds left, and we're going to see SK going for their last engage in the next few seconds. Angel Boy trying to bait out that super from Ope, and he is looking quite tasty as a snack, but I don't think Ope is going to be going for that bait. Only 13 seconds left here, Duncan.
Yep, and he's going to actually go for the pull onto Mr. P, but it's not going to be a connection. There's 8 seconds left, and SK needs to force the issue right here. Joker's going to go in. That's going to be Maru dead, but Maru gets the trade out. Angel Boy's going to somehow clean that up, and after a bunch of deaths in the last couple of seconds, Totem is going to take game number 2, so we are tied up at 1 apiece on dry season right here. Man, that was a really close call, but I mean, Ope was definitely going for Maru with the pull. Doesn't want to risk pulling Angel Boy, who's able to dash out right there, and it just seemed like it didn't pan out that time around.
Yeah, 100%. It's so back and forth. You have one team showing their dominance in game number 1, and the second one is the other team. Now we're going to go into the third engage, and this one is going to dictate whether Totem goes up 2-0 or if SK are able to equalize. But as the start of every single bounty game in this set, Angel Boy got the blue start. As is expected, right now we want to ensure that, I guess, Ope gets his super and actually hits it this time.
Yeah, something else we saw in the last game is Maru putting his porters behind that 2-piece wall that he's standing behind right now, and that was just able to be taken out by Yashi's Bell, so maybe a little bit better porter location this time around, but SK's being way more aggressive. Joker has his super, and he's going to be able to get a kill on Maru. So this is going to be by far the earliest lead that we've seen for SK. Joker's not done yet, though. He's sitting on 4 stars up here. He has his hypercharge, but he's going to choose to retreat now. And now it's likely going to be the Yoshi show, setting up these bell traps. And it's going to be really difficult to push into Ope with pull as well.
That was a very opportune moment for SK Gaming, and now Totem have to play by the SK playbook. It's obviously not going to be that good because Angel Boy, one, he doesn't have his bats. He has no way of getting his bats, and there are all of these bell traps, which make it even harder for Angel Boy to get anything going. If you compound that with Bell's grounded star power, I don't think there's really anything that Angel Boy can do realistically in this situation.
It's going to be incredibly difficult, but they have to give it an effort at some point. It might be in Angel Boy's best interest to go in and just kind of start cycling his super and die and then just save it for the very final push of the game. But instead, we're going to see Mari stepping on a bell trap. That's going to be a free pull for Ope. And it just seems like it's going to be impossible for Totem to bring this back at this point. With how far away Angel Boy is from super, indeed he's going to go in to try to get some cycle, but he's going to fall. And now it's a 7-star lead. There's really no win condition here for Reply Totem.
Really, they're caught out in an awkward position here. Hypercharged by Ope, but that just adds insult to injury. We need a complete team wipe by Totem, but they're getting team wiped instead. Angel Boy going in, he gets taken out, and yeah, there's a team wipe. That is SK Gaming, able to equalize this at 1 apiece. That Totem draft was not it. It did not pay them any dividends, and it only put them in debt.
Yeah, it felt like an early Mortis pick, and it feels good to confirm that it indeed was an early Mortis pick. So, not the biggest fan of the draft of all time, but I feel like they had a way that they could have won it, but it felt like they were just going for the blue star and then playing the waiting game for the rest of it. So, we saw it work out in game number 2 when SK wasn't able to get a single kill, but if they are able to get a single kill, it's going to be extremely difficult for Totem to win in that matchup.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like the pace of these matches. Usually you have to wait for a few minutes for teams to get back into it, but now we're already going into Bell's Rock, which is set number 3. Now also it is parity, right? We have one set won by Reply Totem, one set won by SK Gaming, so this one is going to be setting, I guess, the next phase of like the talking points, because obviously whoever wins this next one is going to have a huge advantage going into set number 4.
Yeah, no, absolutely massive for momentum right here. That was a big win for SK. Going down 0-2 would have been absolutely devastating. Would have felt like they were kind of up against an impossible challenge right here. But we're moving into Bell's Rock. We are even at one set apiece, and our bans are in. SK Gaming is going to ban out Kaze, Lumi, and Jean. Reply Totem choosing to ban out Gray, Kit, and Lumi. So Lumi banned out by both teams. Reply Totem getting rid of the Kit cheese strat, and they're going to go with the Gus for the first pick. Probably the safest sniper in the game.
Yeah, for sure. You have the shield as well, the hypercharge. You can't really go wrong with Gus. I mean, all things considered, there is probably a situation where you might have a lot more aggressive options being brought out by Totem. Obviously, with the Gus, that is 100% a possibility. SK Gaming need to understand that and draft accordingly. But they also have the last pick, so no. So far, I feel like Reply Totem hasn't really shown their hand with this first pick, so it's a pretty good early pick.
Yeah, it gives them the option to go with the tank last pick, or with the later parts of the draft. It gives them the option to go kind of whatever they want, realistically. The Gus can use the shield on himself or his teammates, so not really trapped into any specific strategy right here. SK likely is going to try to counter out tank at least a little bit right here. And it seems like that's what the RT pick is going to be coming into the fold for. So they have good range with the Bell and the RT. They have the ability of the RT to counter out any aggressive options by just splitting into his split form and just getting so much of that damage out so quickly. The marks are also pretty fantastic with range brawlers, because if he's able to tap somebody and then one of his teammates can get a snipe on them as well, it's going to do additional damage, and it could be cause for a sneaky takedown.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I like the fact that the RT is there not just for those takedowns like you mentioned, but like it de-incentivizes dive brawlers. It de-incentivizes brawlers that can jump on your face. Like Bonnie is one which would be great on a map such as this one, but with the RT being there, it makes sure that the Bonnie pick is probably not going to get as much of a value as you'd want. So I like this RT pick all around.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard to be upset about an RT on Bell's Rock. I feel like it's one of the safest picks in the book. RT and Gus pretty much are always going to fill that role for them. But Reply Totem has 2 picks coming up here. I'm curious to see if they still choose to go a little bit aggressive here. I mean, Ollie is open, Hank is open, Buster is open. Those are 3 tanks that we see sometimes being picked up here, but they're going to opt to avoid the tank strategy. It's actually going to be a Jae Young and a Brock. So Brock is a brawler that we haven't seen come into the knockout meta too frequently, but he is frequently picked when you do want to break open these walls right here, which is a little surprising to me considering SK also has brawlers that thrive in a wall break environment. But I don't hate the strategy from Reply Totem. I think Jae Young is fantastic as a standalone brawler or paired up with tanks, but clearly it's just going to be the Jae Young support with the snipers right now.
Oh yeah, Jae Young with the Gus is gonna make that Brock very hard to kill, but I don't know if the Brock really has all of that damage output. We have a very standard draft, I have to mention, for a match such as this. I feel like we're gonna have classical knockout being brought out here with these picks. It is gonna be interesting to see how much of survivability Reply Totem can bring out with their composition. But at the other side, you're gonna have the marks from both Bell and RT, so double marks, and the poison and the anti-heals from Angelo. So I like both of these compositions. I might prefer SK Gaming just a little bit because of the Angelo, but Jae Young is so strong right now, especially the fact that the speed is even faster.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to tap Jae Young when he has that speed online, when he has his teammates getting sped up. But we are into set number 3. We are tied up at 1 set apiece. We've got Totem rocking with the Jae Young pick on the top left side right here. Look at that speed, though. It's so difficult for Yashi to consistently land these hits, but he is nonetheless. But it's really just going to be a pure good old-fashioned snipe off in this game, Panda. All of these brawlers have pretty great range, and the only shot that's like easy to hit, I would say, is Maru's.
Indeed, I already see the Joker hitting a lot of shots against Maru. Maru does have that explosion damage, which means that his range is a little bit more long, right? It's a little bit deceptive. So the fact that Joker is getting the better of those interactions is kind of crazy. Ooh, the Bell shot absolutely hitting nobody there, but it looked pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah, that would have been an awesome snipe if it connected. I feel like Yashi has landed so many of these hits so far, but Mori just continues to stay on full HP more or less. Joker, I'm expecting, is rocking with the piercing Angelo gadget as well. So if a single member of Totem gets weak, you can expect that Master Fletcher gadget to come into play. But Angel Boy's getting aggressive. He has Ope at 21 HP. The Kooky Popper's on the ground as well, choosing not to activate it. Instead, he's going to eat it. And that is going to be a pretty easy round win for Totem once that smoke starts coming in. The Jae Young gets even more effective.
Yeah, we see a lane swap right now. Yoshi does not want any of the smoke from Mori. I feel like the speed is a little bit difficult to really go up against, but honestly, Yoshi didn't do a bad job by any means, but the fact that they weren't able to get a kill is probably what prompted this lane swap here, and it's working out pretty well for the SK as they push back Totem all the way to their spawn.
Yeah, it does seem like this lane switch is exactly what the doctor ordered. Joker was almost able to pick off a kill right there. Mari's going to be quite weak as well. He was one shot to Ope, but he is going to avoid those shots for the time being. Joker's trying to line up some shots down the middle lane here, but Yoshi is actually going to miss the Bell hypercharge. That is not what they wanted to see right there. Big waste of utility coming out. And now that's another thing that they aren't going to have for the end game. Yoshi does hit a nice bounce gadget, but expecting the smokes to start coming in soon, and actually Mori's going to be the first to fall with that Ope mark.
That was huge because Jaeyoung is a big threat. Taking it out is going to neutralize Reply Totem a lot, but Ope gets taken out big. But on the other side, so does Angel Boy against Joker. Now it's going to be a mano-a-mano, and I feel like Joker definitely has what it takes here. He does manage to get this, and it's going to be equalized in terms of the round score. The next round is going to decide who is going to be winning game number 1 of this set. It's such a pivotal round here, Duncan.
Absolutely massive round right here. Joker definitely had the advantage in that 1v1, but would have still liked to see if Mario could have made it a little bit closer. He's going for the Master Fletcher. It's not going to connect quite yet, and Mori has a good angle to pinch off, but Joker is going to be able to escape with his life. Positioning is still on the side of Totem right here, though, and they are going to have to, SK's going to have to see if they can push out of their spawn, but they have an ample amount of time before the smoke starts encroaching.
It's crazy the range and the speed that Jaeyoung has. His speed makes his range effectively much longer than you expect. Ooh, he uses the gadget, gets taken out by Joker. That's huge. Mori getting caught, lacking in as a result. Reply Totem are now facing a 3-2 situation with a pretty bad handicap.
Yeah, that's a bad place to get caught out in. This should definitely be SK taking home this round as long as they do not squander it. But Angel Boy has Cookie Poppers. He has a hypercharge, so he might be able to get a sneaky kill. Even then, though, it's still going to be a 2v2. Smoke is starting to encroach now. Angel Boy and Maru both falling quite weak back here. The hypercharge is popped, but is he going to be able to find any connections? Maru is going to be the first to fall. Angel Boy does get a kill, but he's marked up by the Bell, and that is going to be far too much of a challenge for him to overcome. We're going to have SK Gaming taking game number 1.
Beautiful stuff coming in from SK Gaming. Yeah, getting that kill on a Jaeyoung was so important. You're going to see them targeting that Jaeyoung more frequently because once one of the supports kind of fall, then the entire, house of cards completely collapses along with it. So that is a consideration. You see Mori actually going for a lane swap. This time he's going up against Yoshi. So that was a lane configuration that worked. Now you see SK deciding to swap lanes once more because you don't want to force the issue if it's not something that's beneficial to you. But that lane swap from Mori allowed Totem to be so much more aggressive and push SK all the way back here.
Yeah, it's nice to get your lanes right, but at the same time, if you're going to give up too much positioning, then it's not always worth it. They do seem like they've been able to crawl out of the spawn trap now, and Maru is going to be quite weak in the back middle. So now we see Totem regrouping a little bit. Mari is definitely going to have to play a little bit more patient this time around. He does have the lowest range on the field, so it's a tough matchup to be in, but if he falls first, that's going to be dooming his team. Ope is keeping up this pressure so fantastically well. He's connecting these RT shots, which are not easy shots to hit. So it's just really good gameplay to Ope. Maru is looking like he might be in a tough position as well, but the smoke is starting to come in, and Totem is on the back foot.
Joker, that marksman, that snipe, he threaded the needle when he got that kill. That's crazy. Now he has a super as well. Angel Boy in a difficult position. Gets taken out. Joker is a man possessed. He's taking all the names. Oh, wow. Complete team wipe by one man alone. Joker, round number 1 going to SK.
Joker is playing out of his mind on this Angelo right here. It's such a good brawler, but only if you can connect your shots and find that value. So it's always going to be good to have a teammate on your roster who can connect those big shots and take out those teams. Oh, Mori is almost going to fall there, but instead it's going to be Ope. Maru's being opportunistic with the chance right there. He does, in fact, lose his teammate, though. So now we're in a 2v2. We have Gus and Brock versus Angelo and Bell. It's going to be a pure snipe off, Panda.
Yeah, for sure. I like the fact that, Joker identified that the Rocket Rain was going to take out his teammate and knew that he needed to take out the Jaeyoung. And as a result, this is a much better opportunity for SK to get the dub. But now Angel Boy is going in. He has a gadget as well as super, uses it and manages to, push Joker in an awkward position, not getting the kill, though, all things considered. Maru pressuring on this left-hand side, pushing them into the harm's way of Angel Boy, and right now Joker is just trying to survive, trying to find the right positioning. But this is actually huge. He gets that snipe off against Angel Boy, gets a kill there as well, and now they're able to completely destroy Maru and get that win. That's going to be another win of a game and even a set. It's going to be SK Gaming up 2-1 in terms of the set score.
Joker played so well in that set, man. The way he was like juking, I know Angelo has a little bit faster movement speed, but still it is not easy to juke as many of those shots as we saw Joker sliming out there. So he was just impossible to touch, and that was just not going to be a good recipe for Totem right there. I mean, I feel like they did get a little bit outdrafted, but I think that they could have won that game if they played a little bit smoother. The Jae-Young range disadvantage was definitely the thing to keep your eyes on in that match, and it seems like the Totem drafts, although they started hot, they're kind of falling off a little bit. They need to see if they can lock in for set 4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with how they drafted in this set that we just saw. There was definitely a way forward for them to get those dubs. The rounds that they won were pretty, I guess, convincing, but it just felt like it was just Joker, pulling his team, kicking and streaming through that set. So we just saw him get like a team wipe in one of the games. We saw him get multiple kills in some of the other rounds too. So 100% the Angelo show.
Yeah, absolutely. Joker is not going to go out without a fight, and that's exactly what we're seeing. SK is definitely looking like they are rebounding from that set 1 loss, and they are looking to get back into the grand finals here for a rematch against Humble. It's a finals matchup that we've seen so many times across the EMEA region, but that doesn't mean it's not a classic. So if that's the matchup we get, then I'll be excited for it. But Totem is not out of it yet, guys. They are only down by 1 set, and we're moving into set number 4, Dueling Beetles right here. Our bans are in. SK bans out Barry, Lou, and Hank, and they're going to go with the Charlie first pick. Reply Totem side bans out Kaze, Lumi, and Hank as well.
Indeed. Cherry? Who's Cherry? Charlie is going to be coming out first for SK Gaming. I don't know if I agree with the Charlie pick, but actually I kind of do, because Charlie's got rework, right? So she has a longer range, so she's going to be able to compete a lot better on these side lanes compared to before. So I think that might be one of the reasons why you want to go for that. You could also use your cocoon to keep a person off of the hot zone if you time it accordingly, and obviously the hypercharge along with those little spiders are going to be pushing you back. So I initially, I guess, was not a fan of this Charlie pick, but I think it's kind of growing on me already.
It's not my least favorite in the world, but I do find it interesting how early it was picked, because, I mean, there are clearly no tanks on the board for Reply Totem yet. I guess they're just expecting that they won't be able to help themselves and that they will take a tank eventually, but Charlie is quite weak into throwers. We're going to see Totem kind of taking advantage of that idea with the Juju pick right here. I think that makes a ton of sense. Obviously, it's not going to have any healing capabilities like a Barley or a Barry would, but Juju is still just such a strong standalone brawler, even though it does take her a while to charge her super now with that supercharge nerf. Still a pretty fantastic pick. And then obviously the Jae-Young going to be so good for getting your team into the zone and keeping them healthy on the zone.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like Totem has rounded out their composition well. They have support, they have a thrower as well. It completely ices out Charlie as a mid, and even as a lane brawler, it's going to be very difficult. And if Gray coming out along with the Jackie, okay, 100% portal. You're going to put your portals down. You're going to get to the middle hot zone, and Jackie's going to go completely ham against Reply Totem. Expect a huge response from Reply Totem just because of this Jackie Gray pick.
I think I understand the Charlie pick now, Panda. They did not want the Charlie to be picked into the Gray Jackie strategy. I think that's exactly what they wanted here. They wanted the Gray Jackie, and they did not want Totem to have the Charlie counter. They're going to go with the Griff counter instead, which is pretty solid right there. But, I mean, it's the KD advantage. I can tell you guys before this game starts, the KD advantage will be going to Reply Totem pretty much no matter what. That's not the... So it's all about who's going to be able to sit on that zone. And with those Gray teleporting in with the Jackie, it's going to be very, very tough to get SK off the zone.
Yeah, 100%. The fulcrum of the composition for Totem right now is the Griff. If the Griff can keep on cycling those cashbacks and getting those hypercharges, then Totem has a way forward. But otherwise, I like this draft from SK a lot. It's a little bit cheesy, but this is what you probably need in certain situations. But yeah, we're going to go into set number 4. It is going to be one where Totem needs to get the win. Otherwise, SK is progressing on to the grand final, Duncan.
Yep, and we're going to see Angel Boy coming out like a man possessed, getting the first kill of the game. Joker is going to be quite weak as well, and Maru's going to be able to use that wall peek ability of the Jae-Young to secure that kill. So full positioning for the side of Totem, and as expected, this game is going to be difficult for SK until they're able to get Joker's teleporter set up. So Joker's got to kind of be expedient with that, but he does get the TP in now. Not going to be able to secure a kill, and Angel Boy actually is going to get 2 of them. A shielded up Grigri is on the zone as well, so it's a 4v3 now at this point, basically. And even though the teleporter's up, it's a 50+% difference right now.
Yeah, it's also not in a great position because the wall has been broken up already. Now we see Yoshi going in against Maru. Finds a kill though, regardless, and it is going to be taken out by Griggy. Unfortunately, there is a piggy bank, and now we see SK finally on the hot zone. Big pull coming in on the right-hand side. Mori gets taken out, but so does Joker. Now OP trying to force the offensive by, sitting on the hot zone. Yoshi as well with the hypercharge. Push back Angel Boy and Maru, and now OP just going in for the kills. He wants to pull them in, gets a double suck, gets one kill, gets taken out, but at the same time, Yoshi finds a kill onto Maru. Now we have 2 members of SK, and the lead, which was 60%, is now cut down to just 30.
Can't even tell if this is the same game we were watching 5 seconds ago, man. This is a completely different vibe right now. Ope has the hypercharge too, and that's going to be another double kill. And just like that, man, it really just took one super from Joker, and now everything is falling apart for Reply Totem. The lead is already pretty much evened out, and I don't really see a way that they're going to be able to get back in, but Angel Boy has hypercharge. He's going to have to make the most out of this super. Otherwise, this game is more or less over, and it seems like it's not going to be the most successful from him, but actually, they're able to get on the zone. It's just OP remaining for SK, and the lead is ticking up to 90% for Totem now.
Yeah, right now we need something to happen from Ope, but he gets taken out. That is unfortunate. That's going to be game number 1 for Reply Totem. Despite all of that setback, they are able to come out on top.
It looked like SK had them exactly where they wanted them. Ope was getting a full squad wipe in the spawn, but somehow, some way, Totem was able to keep their head down and lock in and get this W at the end. They had a great start, but it looked like they might not have a way to get back onto the zone, but they figured it out. They stayed together as a team. That was a beautiful push from Reply Totem. They need more of the same at the beginning of this game, but a pretty large priority is going to be spent on not beating Joker that teleport, but not a good start for Angel Boy.
Yeah, indeed. Maru pops his gadget. Ope is just making sure that he creates enough room for his teammates to dip their tippy toes on the hot zone, and that's exactly what he's doing. Maru trying to find the kill on the Joker, going in quite aggressively against Ope and Yoshi, and he gets taken out. Joker with that kill, the cocoon onto Angel Boy, and now Angel Boy gets taken out as well. So really great start from SK, but we saw this the last time around too.
Yep, and now Mori's going to have his Grigri as well. It's going to be ready to go to tank some shots from Joker right here, but I mean, the lead is heavily on the side of SK, and that's even before they had their big portal set up, so it's going to be extremely tough for Totem to bring this back. The Super Cycle Teleport is going to be online for sure. The Cocoon is also there, so Angel Boy's going to be respawning in a pretty interesting position. Mari's in a weird spot as well. Ope with the Hypercharge is clearly going to be able to take that down, and I don't see a way Totem's going to be able to reestablish zone dominance here.
Oh yeah, once you get that portal, it's very difficult to come back here. SK are probably on their way to our match point unless there is a complete collapse from the team. Angel Boy getting one. He's trying to get the other, but they are able to get the kill on Open. Now all 3 members of Totem on the point. They need to play perfectly. They need to keep SK away from this point. Otherwise, it's going to be a loss for them, and they might be facing a match point situation.
Yeah, Angel Boy is just camping out this teleporter, waiting for Jackie to teleport in so he can get those cards off. He has no super online right now, but he gets it immediately.
Wow.
And it looks like somehow Totem might have a way forward here. I mean, there's only 6% remaining, so the teleporters will continue. That's exactly what we're going to see, and that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin right there. SK should have more than enough to secure this game, and like you said, we are going to be on match point for SK Gaming.
Yeah, SK Gaming, beautiful stuff actually, and I misquoted this. I miscalled it. I said in game number 1 they had a fantastic start. They did not. They were behind by about 40-60%. Second game was a really fantastic start because obviously you want to get the advantage early on if you have SK's composition. It's a late game composition, but if you are taking the lead from the start, it's obviously the best way forward for them. But right now, SK on match point, 1 more game away from facing Humble in the grand finals, but Totem have a lot to say about that.
Yep, it's a must-win for Totem. Last game we saw Angel Boy fall almost immediately, but this time he's going to be much more vigilant, staying alive with as well as his entire roster right here. So Totem has zone dominance. This should be a pretty significant percentage lead to start us off here. Joker's got to be close to his teleport though. I believe 1 or 2 shots away at maximum, but the Grigri is going to distract Yashi for some time. I mean, we just see the zone continue to tick up though, and Totem is pushing towards 50%.
Yeah, and every small mistake, every little micro aggression which does not pay dividends is going to be a huge nail in the coffin for SK Gaming, as Joker missed one of those pulls. Now we see Yoshi getting taken down, and SK Gaming completely outclassed in game number 3. They're down 70%, and now we don't even have a portal from Joker to make something happen for SK.
Yeah, Mari getting his Gree before the portal is huge because that's going to take up so much of his ammo. He's not going to be able to use that to charge super. Yashi's trying to go in for an
What?
aggressive kill, and he does get it. But as we see, I mean, there's still no Gray Portal. It's 90% to 16%. Like, it's going to be extremely difficult for SK to bring this back, but they're going to give it their all. Angel Boy's got the cards, though, and that is going to be a dominant victory for Reply Totem to bring us to our first set 5.
Beautiful stuff from Reply Totem. It seemed like SK had it in the bag. We saw them struggling in the first game, but then they were able to, really get back into the swing of things. In the second game, it was the SK show from the get-go. Third game, I thought it was going to be SK because they seemingly had everything figured out, but at the end of the day, Totem knew what they needed to do, and they got that work done. We're going to go into double swoosh, and set number 5 is where it's going to go down to, because now we're at parity. Both these teams have won 2 sets each. This set is the one. Whichever team wins this is going to the grand finals, and the team that loses this, we're going to say goodbye, as they're going to be sent packing.
It's going to be sad to lose one of these absolutely goated teams right here, but the winner has a grand finals debut set up with Humble right here. So excited to see who's going to come out on top. We have double swoosh for our map, and also just something to touch on, we still have the speed bug in the game. So the speed gear brawlers are going to be a little bit accidentally buffed in this situation right here. So stuff like Sandy, stuff like Max, Ems, they could be a little bit more impactful in this meta. Also, pretty much every tank, especially Ashe, is one that I always bring my brain to when I see this map here. But our bans are in. SK is going to ban out Sandy, Lumi, and Tara. Reply Totem banning out Tara, Amber, and Crow Panda.
I like these bans because they make sure that you can identify where people are in the bushes. Now, everybody's going to be seemingly invisible because they're going to be hiding in the grass. So, vision gear is a very important thing. We're going to have Charlie coming out. I like the Charlie because with all of the bans, you want to know that you have something in your back pocket to keep people out, right? And I feel like the cocoon is the best way to spot somebody. If they randomly show up, you can at least cocoon them, and then your team can collapse on them. So, I think it's a safe pick considering all the bans that we have.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It is probably going to be a relatively aggressive draft as well, especially with like things like Crow and Amber being banned out, and Tara, like some of these brawlers that are so good for controlling tanks and aggro on double swoosh. So I think it's a pretty safe pick from Reply Totem. We have definitely just seen Charlie kind of catapult herself into the meta since this recent balance change. So definitely nice to see some new brawlers being more meta now. SK's got the next 2 picks though, and it's definitely going to be, I think Jae Young could be a pretty solid pick. You want something that can pierce through the spiders that the Charlie has to bring to the table. So I think at least one of these picks will have a piercing capability. I think Jae Young makes the most sense though.
Yeah, it does. I mean, why wouldn't you run Jaeyoung? But you're gonna have Lily along with the Pearl. So Pearl is a great brawler because of the heat. Obviously, you could also break up a lot of the grass. She has a long range as well. But I think this Lily pick here, you're gonna be, incognito, gonna be sneaky in the bushes, and you might get caught out if you're not too careful. So I like this Lily pick, but the Lily pick in the Charlie is certainly a choice for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're quick enough with the gadgets, you might be able to dodge out of one of those cocoons, but at the same time, the way you play Lily is often just trying to sneak onto somebody's location, but Charlie, with just quick enough reaction timing, is always going to be able to trap you right there. So it is an interesting pick to me. I still think having Lily and Gem Grab is a pretty fantastic option just because she's such an agent of chaos. She's so good for getting those last second gem resets and getting away with all the gems and just kind of taking them to the Shadow Realm too. So definitely some crazy changes of pace that can come in with the Lily pick. Pearl is pretty safe as well. And we're going to see Reply Totem going with a Buster and with a Jean to carry the gems. So fantastic brawler for Vision that Jean is. Buster is going to be pretty good as well, using that speed gear to slide around here, maybe get a sneaky pull onto the gem carrier. I feel like it's a pretty well-rounded comp from Reply Totem. SK seems like they're getting pretty aggressive with this, so we'll see what they lane.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like this Jean because you want some kind of turnaround potential. The Buster is a little scary, right? If you are caught out because the Buster it comes out of a bush, you're in a very bad spot. I like this Mr. P pick. It's great into both the Jean and also the Charlie, but into the Buster, maybe not as great, all things considered, but it's a pretty solid mid, especially if you're going up against that Jean. You have a Porter, which is going to be a huge problem for all of those. But just look at the number of people at the crowd. Wow, the number of Totem fans is kind of crazy.
That's a lot of excitement, man. It's gotta
Dude,
feel
I wish
good
I
if you're
was
one of these
there.
players up on the stage. I wish I was there too. They should fly us out next time. OWN, if you're listening to this, fly me and Panda out. We'll pull up. But anyway, we're gonna be getting into our set 5 here, guys. This is what Brawl Esports is all about. Who is gonna be facing off against Humble in our grand finals? We have Totem in red, SK in blue, and it seems like Joker is gonna be grabbing these initial gems. Totem playing extremely passive off rip.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna go into set numero 5.
Ooh.
And ooh, big kill from Ope with that super. That's huge. Oshi is also in a very aggressive position with Joker collecting 4 gems, the 4 first gems for his team. That's already a great start for SK Gaming. But once Reply Totem get that pull on Mari, it's going to make sure that Joker is all the way back. So Joker's objective right now is to get that super and fast, and that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, that's really, really big for SK. It's going to be so much harder for Mari to hit a pull now that they have those porters up, as well as losing their gem carrier right here. So things are just not looking great. Mari's going to fall quite weak as well. The gems are significantly in the hands of SK. Mari does have pull, but like we said, those porters are just going to make it so difficult to find a connection onto the gem carrier.
Big sucker on the right hand side, completely Totem being pushed back all the way to their spawn. Oh, Ope has a hypercharge as well. If he wants to use it, he goes for it, misses the hypercharge, but is able to find 1 kill. And finally, he goes in for his super, finds Angel Boy. No, he gets found out instead. Now Maru pops his hypercharge, going for Joker, but Joker finds a mark. Now Angel Boy with a super, no, misses it. The reset is not going to be online. Hypercharge turrets by Joker. 6 seconds left. Nobody from Totem nearby. Joker unaddressed, and now SK are on match point against Reply Totem.
Angel Boy needed to find the connection on that cocoon in order to get the gem reset. If you do get hit by that Charlie cocoon, even though you don't die immediately, all the gems will be dropped out. So that would have been the saving grace for Reply Totem. But we didn't even see Mori get to attempt a gene pull in that game because of the existence of the Mr. P porters. So I feel like he's going to have to charge up his super a little bit quicker, maybe find an opportunity to hit that pull before the porters get online. But it's going to be incredibly difficult. We have SK going to a match point now. Mari's going to be playing a lot more aggressive this time around. He's going for the Mr. P. He gets the kill, but Ope is going to be there for the trade. He does miss his super, though, so Mori might have a little bit of room. And indeed, he does get that kill. Should be able to pick up 4 gems.
SK in a great spot here. They are on match point. Totem need to pull something out of the rabbit. Pull a rabbit at the hat to get something going here. Mari's going to be collecting those gems. Obviously not the best person to collect those gems, but given the situation, he has no option. There's no way forward here for him. Mori, though, has a pull, and that is going to be pivotal to Totem's success. Though, Ope, you can see him. He's going in onto Mori. He is going to be able to find a kill. Gets his super as well. Has a hypercharge to work with, and that is going to be something that Totem have to really contend with.
Ope is doing such an amazing job just sneaking around, finding spots where he can get in and have an impact. He's playing fantastically well, and Joker also has his porter set up in the ideal location to tank any pull that Mori might have to offer here. So we didn't see him attempt to pull last game. He might just want to go for somebody outside of the gem carrier, but we actually see the Charlie cocoon is online. It is going to displace Joker from the gems, but he's going to be there to get him back. Now Maru still sitting on 4 gems, not able to go as aggressive as he would like. We're going to see if a gene pull might be coming into the fold here.
Yeah, but with that porter, it's so difficult to really address it, right? Yoshi going in with the hypercharge, not able to connect as many shots off on Maru. Angel Boy tries to get at that super, not getting the cocoon off, but has managed to get a little bit of those spiders to push back the entirety of the SK out of the mid. That gem being collected by Reply Totem. Maru has 7 on his name, and once more, OP going on to Angel Boy. Maru is now the default gem carrier for this team because none of the others are able to stay alive for too long.
We're going to lose Mori as well, but this is the only opportunity that he might have to hit a gene pull because there are no porters on the field, but that's going to be the 10th gem collected by Yashi. He's going to go a little aggressive, though, and get pulled. The 10 gems are transferred over to Joker now, and they do have the hypercharge porters up as well. I'm not sure how long they'll be able to survive for, but with 10 seconds left, all Joker needs to do is survive this interaction, and Mori's going to fall once again, has still yet to get a gene pull off. Ope has his hypercharge as well, and there is nobody anywhere near Joker. That is going to be SK Gaming winning this set.
Yeah, there was nary a response, not even a reply, and Totem is finally sent packing as SK Gaming progresses onwards to the grand finals.
Very, very well-earned victory to SK Gaming. They started out losing the first set, but they just looked like such a better team after that. They played fantastically well, and they're going to get their revenge on Reply Totem, losing in day 1, winning in day 2, and now they have their stage set for a grand finals matchup against Humble.
If you guys are confused, these are the same 2 teams that were there. The Brawl Cup is the finalists and the grand finalists there. So we're going to have a repeat of the Brawl Cup, maybe SK Gaming can take the revenge that they so desire against their opponents in, I guess, purple and pink. But either way, that was a beautiful match, I have to say. I want to go into the little bit of the post-mortem, if you will, Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm sad to lose Reply Totem, man. They played so fantastically well throughout this tournament. They were our upper bracket finalists, and they ended up losing to Humble, and then they lose in the rematch to SK. But they played so well, definitely making a name for themselves as one of the best teams in EMEA. They've had a little bit of ups and downs all season. They came into our Final Four as probably the biggest underdog, and they definitely surprised a lot of people with their gameplay today. So proud of Reply Totem, and definitely a well-earned win to SK. We're going to get a rematch of our EMEA El Clasico.
No, for sure, though. Like, Reply Totem getting the set 5 at a LAN against SK Gaming is going to give them a lot of confidence for the future months, because I feel like confidence was basically the main reason why they weren't performing as well as they a lot of people expected. So the fact that they were able to take SK to set number 5, obviously, you know, you want to win, you want to get the grand finals victory and whatnot, but we need to look at the history, and we need to look at the demonstrated improvement from Reply Totem. So good job, kudos to Reply Totem. Obviously, we're going to see a lot more of this team going forwards, but unfortunately, that's not going to be the case at OWN. After Team Heretics, we say finally goodbye to Reply Totem. But now we have Humble versus SK Gaming, but we're going to take a short break of about 4.5 minutes before we come back for that grand finals fixture. See you guys then.
Gente guapa, ¿cómo estamos? Muy buenas tardes a todos. ¿Se escucha? ¿No se escucha? ¿No se escucha? ¿No se escucha? ¡Qué raro! ¡Qué rarito! A ver, producción, por favor. Parece que estoy cerrado. Estamos abiertos. Decía, buenas tardes a todos. Valencia, ¿cómo estamos? ¿Qué pedazo de público se han bancado hoy en esta OWN de 2025? ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Tenemos ganas para las gran finales, sí o no? Muchas ganas para la gran final. Ya tenemos a los dos equipos detrás y están preparados para ver quién se va a alzar con la victoria, la gloria y el honor de esta OWN Master Brawl de Valencia en 2025, que está siendo letal. Oye, antes de nada, tengo los jugadores preparados, están listos, los estáis viendo desde la esquina. A la de 3 quiero que les hagáis un ruidazo para que desarrollen su mejor juego posible. Así que 1, 2, 3... Un fuerte aplauso para ellos. Fuerte aplauso de todos, por favor. Fuerte aplauso. Que no os tenga que tirar. Y señores, vamos a dar inicio a las finales. Y representando SK Gaming. Fuerte aplauso, ruido y calor para Joker, Hope y Yoshi. Toma lugar los jugadores, reciben el aplauso del público de Valencia en presencial, que lo ha dado todo el fin de semana. ¡Qué bárbaro! Los jugadores de SK Gaming en posición y se van a enfrentar contra los vigentes campeones del mundo. Con todos ustedes, representando Humble, Boss, Lucky y Symantec. Volvemos con Caster, todo vuestro. Señores, disfruten del show.
Hello, everybody, and hello. No, we're not. There we go. Yeah, okay. Wait, is Duncan there? Can you say something, Duncan? There we go. Okay,
Duncan,
sorry.
Duncan.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
bet.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OWN Masters Valencia. We are ready for our grand finals, and you can see the teams actually getting ready in the background, as you can see. But at Premier third-party tournaments, Humble remains undefeated in the playoffs, and on this, the final day of OWN, they want to keep it that way. While being Lanimals internationally, they've failed domestically in comparison, but lucky for them, this is a LAN tournament. Add to that the fact that Humble is here today from the upper bracket, which means that they can afford to lose a best of 5 against their opponents, which takes a load off their shoulders. SK Gaming has performed better than Humble, performed better against Humble than any other team in EMEA this year, and seemingly know the sauce that should get them to the championship success. But that wasn't the case at Brawl Cup, was it, Duncan?
No, it was not. Humble has definitely been coming out of all of these LAN tournaments on top and an OWN. These teams have only faced off one time, but it was a 3-2 victory for Humble over SK. SK's had a much tougher path to the grand finals than Humble has. Humble has not lost a game yet, as we've said. They are 9-0, guys. I repeat, 9-0 throughout their 9 games that they've played here. So absolutely crazy dominant stuff from Humble. But SK has been tried and true, man. They've had their back to the fire, and they just keep on persevering here to give us the El Clasico that we're all looking forward to when we get into the EMEA finals.
For sure. I mean, 100%. Both of these teams, though, have a lot to prove, as neither has made it past the quarterfinals in EMEA June monthly finals. Mind you, these two teams are representatives of EMEA at the Brawl Cup LAN, which just happened. So that just goes to show how competitive EMEA is. You can win an international LAN. That doesn't guarantee that you're even going to make it to the monthly finals. So that is something to talk about. But in this playoff phase, we haven't seen these two teams playing against one another, and this could possibly be the best venue for these behemoths to clash as we seek to crown the kings of Valencia.
It's got to be the best venue for them, man. These teams are just allergic to not making the championship, and that's what we've seen in Brawl Cup, and we get the rematch of our Brawl Cup finals now. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who really knows Brawl Esports that wouldn't put both of these teams in their top 3, so I feel like it's about all we could ask for a third-party LAN tournament, and I'm super excited to get into it. Looks like the fans are fired up as well, and although I wish I was there to share in that energy, man, it's always awesome to be casting from home with you, Panda.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I love we've been casting for the past 2 months, I guess, together, and it's been probably one of my most fun experiences. So I really appreciate you, Duncan. I know they're getting a little bit sappy, but you know, it's all love.
Yeah, man, this is my first tournament that I've ever casted, and we're coming to the end of it now, man. A little bit of an emotional moment with the Jaeyoung voice line. That's so cringe that I just did that, but it's awesome stuff, dude, and we're going to have a banger finals on our hands. And just the energy in that room, man, it looks fantastic. In case you guys weren't aware, also, it is double elimination, so if SK is going to come out as our OWN champions, they will have to win back-to-back matches against Humble, so they've definitely got a tougher path to the trophy than Humble does. It's really all Humble with the red carpet laid out in front of them, but SK is going to be trying to take that prize away from their biggest opponent in the region.
Yeah, and I mean, it does kind of seem unfair if you aren't aware of double eliminations, because right now Humble have a handicap against SK Gaming. The winners of the Brawl Cup, the defending world champions, have a handicap against SK Gaming. So it just proves how much of an arduous path SK Gaming have. They have to, you know, go through treacherous caverns just to be able to get a grand finals reset, to be able to even fight for that cup. So I think everything right now is favoring Humble, but we might just have a best of 5 into 2 today, which is probably something that people want to see against SK and Humble, you know?
Yeah, I want as much of this game as we can get, man. As competitive as it can be, I'm here for all of that. I feel like, I mean, they could be a little bit, like, obviously Humble has the advantage, but they don't want to let themselves get too comfortable, too content with their position here. They don't want to start losing and be like, well, we can just win next time. Like, that's definitely going to be something. It's a little bit harder to keep the mental straight when teams are starting from an unequal playing spot, but we are getting into our first map of the day already, guys. It is going to be Heist, and the map is going to be Pit Stop as we wait for Humble and SK Gaming to submit their bans. Yeah,
and the other maps, so we have Pit Stop right now starting it off, but we have Pinball Dreams, Layer Cake, Gold Arm Gulch, and Ring of Fire. Gold Arm Gulch and Ring of Fire are only going to be played if required, obviously, and the next best of 5 maps, if there is a grand final reset, is going to be a set of different maps. But right now we have Pit Stop online, and this map is a very interesting one. It doesn't play like any of the other Heist maps at all, Duncan.
Yeah, you can say that again, man. If you've heard the term base race before, this map is the epitome of it. There's pretty much all these draft picks are going to be brawlers that either do a ton of damage to the safe or that can play fantastic defense on those brawlers who do a ton of damage to the safe. We see our bans come in here and kind of sticking true to that mentality. Humble is going to ban out Miko, who is a safe damage brawler, as well as Lumi and Charlie, who are more the defensive end. SK is going to ban out Kaze, Cordelius, and Barry. So pretty standard as far as pit stop bans go. There are still a lot of good brawlers that could make their way into the fold here. One that I kind of have my eye out for is Bull, and that is indeed actually going to be the first pick right here. So looks like what's the opposite of a caster's curse? I have no idea. Caster's prediction, whatever you want to call it. But the Bull pick is coming out. It's going to be a lot of safe damage if they're able to get him into a good position.
Oh yeah, I remember Angel Boy on the Bull was kind of crazy, and it wasn't even on Pit Stop. It was on Hard Rock Mine. So if Bull can be that good on Hard Rock Mine, we know that he's going to be insane on Pit Stop. We did actually see him run it on Pit Stop too, but this time it's going to be Humble piloting that Bull.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic option here. It's going to definitely be countered out by some of these picks coming up from SK, but without Charlie and without Cordelius, those are typically the two go-to brawlers on the defensive end here. Rico is another brawler that could make his way into the draft right here. I mean, he's pretty good for holding down the mid. There's a lot of walls on this map, of course, and he can kind of farm that angle from the left or the right side, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to counter at the Bull. We might see a couple of tankier options come in. Maybe even like something like an El Primo could be pretty decent.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like El Primo is going to be able to get on the point, but
Ooh.
Edgar perennially, if you have a lot of these bans which take out brawlers from contention, is one of the best brawlers to go for the safe on Pit Stop, especially the fact that he can just jump over the walls is going to be a pretty good thing. But RT is a really good option as a defensive brawler. The Spike is an interesting pick. I feel like it's an overly defensive pick for a meta which is so aggressive, so I don't know if that's going to be paying them dividends. Obviously, classically, Spike, one of the best counters to tanks, but tanks have evolved so much since Spike was meta.
Yeah, I think Spike is all right, but I'm a little bit surprised to see Spike picked up before RT when RT is open. I mean, I know that RT is one of the best brawlers to leave on defense, and indeed he is going to be drafted by Humble. The way that you see these pro players running RT here is typically just using the gadget that allows you to split off rip, and then you'll just leave your legs on the safe, and then that's going to make it more or less impossible for a brawler like Edgar to get that damage. So I think that Humble definitely got the brawler that they wanted here. Carl is another great aggressive brawler to shred down that safe if left untouched. So I think that Humble has a pretty good looking comp right here. Still a little bit confused by the Spike, but I mean, he's got a good balance of defense and safe damage. And then the dog is going to round out the SK Gaming draft. What do you think about that, Pan?
I feel like this draft got away from SK. They had some ideas, but I feel like the Spike was basically the death sentence for SK in terms of what they decided to pick, because in terms of defensive plays, Humble have that unlock. In terms of the mid-range play with the Carl, they had that unlock. In terms of the aggressive play on the safe, they had that unlock. What do Humble have? They have a Edgar who's going to get demolished when he jumps on the RT on the safe. Like, there isn't enough HP in the world for that to happen. But right now, we're going to go into our first set of the grand finals between Humble and SK Gaming on Pit Stop.
Yep, and we're going to see Boss already getting straight to the cheese strategy, leaving his legs directly on the safe, and now Joker is going to have his work cut out for him, trying to get a lick of damage right here. He does get a little bit on, but it's not going to be too much to overcome right now. Semantic is super hard trapped in the corner by Ope and Yashi, and he's going to fall next. We see the dog is rocking with the sky support gadget. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but that boom boom dog gadget. Joker's got his stuff ready to go, but Boss is still kind of chilling out on the safe. He does choose to pick up his legs though, which is a little bit of an interesting strategy, but I guess Yoshi was probably going to super the safe pretty soon here.
Yeah, Joker going in with a hypercharge. He's getting so much of value on the safe, and that is crazy. Boss, ooh, he removed his legs from the situation and also removed all of the defensive counterplay that Humble had. Now Joker gets so much of value. The safe down to 50%, but on the other side, it's only a, what, 10% being claimed by Humble? It's crazy as the damage just keeps on rolling in. As Yoshi's able to find another kill on a Boss, he's going to be able to be on the safe unabated. No member of the entirety of the Humble squad going to be able to address Yoshi on this right-hand side. But on the other side, we see Humble going in on the safe as well, but they are down by 50% at least.
I mean, it seems like this beginning of the game just went so badly for Humble. They were not able to get Semantic onto the safe at all, really, and now this gap is looking very difficult to overcome. Semantic's going to be trying to find his way up this right-hand side of the map, but he needs to play defense as well, and he gets hit by the Colonel Ruff's gadget, and this is looking like they might be able to finish it off as long as Joker's able to get a little bit of damage. Boss playing as much defense as possible, but a Spike super hits the safe as well. I don't believe it's going to be enough to finish it, so now it's going to have to be complete domination from Humble if they want to win this.
That is crazy. I mean, the composition that they have shouldn't be this effective. Joker gets a kill on the Semantic. That is going to be enough for SK to get game number 1 off rip. Such a dominant first game, despite the fact that seemingly they don't have the advantage.
It just seems like they were never able to punch through the defense that SK had to offer with the spike and with the dog. I mean, I didn't expect the dog to be as effective of a pick as it was here. And to be fair, we didn't really get to see too many of the 1v1s between the dog and Semantic on the bull right here. But it seems like that Semantic was having a very difficult time getting onto the safe. Humble needs to find an answer immediately.
Yeah, I like the fact that Joker played this one really well. He knew that Boss was the biggest issue, so he waited for his teammates to address Boss while Yoshi was able to help and pick them off. And now Super coming on the right-hand side. Boss is in an awkward position, but is very aggressive, uncharacteristically so, as Joker and Ope are going to be going in and aggressing here, forcing the issue. Yuki finds a gadget off on the save, but this is a much better start for Humble, though.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of just gave up on playing defense, and they're just going to go for the full-out base race here after how game one went. Luki was able to get so much damage up there, and he's not even weak after all of that, so no defense has been applied to Luki's side at all. Semantic's going to be trying to find a way through here, but now we have Joker getting the dog treat. He's going to be powered up, and he's going straight for Boss. Likely going to just dip for the safe at this point now, though. We have a Spike Super on the defensive end, but a lot of damage is going to be pouring down from Humble here. Only 22% away from victory. He's going to be going for the dog, and now he's just going to go to try and finish off the safe, and that is going to be too much aggression. It seems like moving Boss to the offensive side was surprisingly effective.
That was really good because I felt like Boss was one of the reasons why the lane misalignment was happening for Humble. Since he put his legs down, he didn't really have any counterplay to push back the ranged opponents from the side of SK Gaming. So when they decided to go for RT in a conventional sense rather than just the legs and defensively, it worked out and paid dividends. Now we're going to go to game number 3 to figure out who is going to be winning set number 1. Both of these teams have shown us that they have the ability to adapt and use different strategies. Now Boss getting the kill on a Joker. That's going to be huge as Ope also gets taken down, Duncan.
Yeah, it's a big early kill right there. We've seen a tale of 2 different games in the set so far, and it looks like Humble is going to be trying to run back exactly what happened in game number 2. They are going to lose Boss, but Luki is providing a great amount of pressure up here. Ope is not going to have nearly enough utility to take him out, and now Semantic is going for the cleanup on Yashi just to allow him to get free reign onto the safe, but the defense from SK is strong for now. Only 25% taken off the safe. Not that bad, all things considered, but they just don't have anything going on the offensive end as the Boss has once again set up his legs on the safe and is going to get some offense here.
Yeah, he gets some safe damage, gets taken out. I think he's fine with being taken out because it just puts him in a defensive configuration if required. Now, Junker main from Joker, he gets the better of Luki as expected. Now, Semantic is also going to be falling by the wayside. No, he goes in with the super onto the safe, but doesn't manage to pop that second shield. Now, Joker with a purple button goes in on the safe, gets a little bit of damage, but not all that significant as Yoshi, despite the fertilize, getting taken out and addressed. So great start from Humble. They are up by about 20%.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They also have SK is 2% away from popping that shield as well, so that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. If Joker jumps in, he's going to get one punch off, and then he's just going to have to wait for that shield to go away. Humble is just completely dominating on the offensive end right now, though. There is a hypercharge dog treat right there, so Joker's going to be able to get a free hyper once he picks that up. That's exactly what he's going to do, and he's going to go straight for Luki, who does waste his super. So now Joker's going to be looking on the offensive end if he's able to get any damage out here, but Boss is likely going to try to neutralize that.
Yeah, Boss in a great style. Ooh, Joker does bait the super. Let's go. That was a beautiful one. He almost got taken out because he was a little too aggressive in that position. Now Yoshi putting down his hypercharge, trying to find the RT legs, not able to do so. I feel like that was probably not the best play. He could have put it down onto the safe and the RT legs would have got more damage in. But, you know, I think they're still fine with it. 14 seconds left. They need to get a kill on the safe. They need to take down that safe. Otherwise, it's not going to be looking good for them. 10 seconds left. It's now or never. SK trying to force the issue. Joker jumping in, gets taken out immediately, and that is going to go the way of Humble. Despite everything that we saw in game number 1, Humble have come back roaring in game number 2 and 3, taking set number 1 against their opponents, SK Gaming.
That was a fantastic adjustment. After getting dominated in game number 1, they completely switched up the strategy. They allowed Boss to have a lot more versatility in the way that he played. He didn't just have to set up his legs on the safe and then kind of maneuver around with his top half. He was being a little bit more dynamic, and that ended up being enough to give them the win right there. The offense-defense balance was fantastic from Humble, and I think just overall they had the comp over them. I mean, we saw the Spike get good moments, but realistically, there was never a time where Spike was able to get onto the safe by themselves. He was kind of just there for defense and playing those supers onto the RT legs, but I feel like there was more value to be had there, and we're going to have to see SK draft a little bit better in set number 2.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in this chat probably saw this different game than we did because The reason SK were able to compete in that set was solely because of Joker, and the reason I thought that they were going to lose that set was solely because of Joker's pick, which was the Edgar. He played so phenomenally well as the Edgar. He went in jumping in on not the RT but the other two brawlers, ensuring that the RT was picked off by his teammates, jumped in on the save whenever necessary, and was a one-man maniac, ensuring that SK were kept into the mix of things. I felt like the second game wasn't going to go the way the first game wasn't going to go the way of SK, but you know, Joker was one of the reasons why it was so close. It shouldn't have been close by any stretch of the imagination, but SK kind of made a very viable composition out of that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I was not a huge fan of the Spike pick, not a huge fan of the Dog pick, but I respect them going a little bit out of the normal course of action with the draft. It didn't end up panning out, but I still think that they had some good ideas right there, just weren't able to execute on it as they would have quite liked to. But we have our next set coming up pretty soon here, guys. We're moving into Brawl Ball, and it's going to be Pinball Dreams, but Humble is already off to a good start, and they're going to be looking to not even get a bracket reset. They want to wrap things up right here, right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the Humble way. In a previous tournament, they faced off against, what was it? Reply Totem in the grand finals, and it was the same situation where they had the upper bracket buff, but you know, they didn't want to get the bracket reset. If you could finish it off right off the bat, you know, off rip, why not do that, right? So maybe dry season, you're gonna see not dry season, Pinball Dreams, you're going to see Humble once more taking the set. But SK may have a lot to say here, and obviously they don't want Humble to get a 3-0 or even a 3-2 in this situation.
Yeah, this set number 2 is going to be huge for momentum. Going down 2-0 to a team that has yet to lose in this tournament is just going to be such a hard wall to overcome. So, I mean, they're going to see what they can do, but this is once again going to be a pretty aggressive map right here. So I'm excited to see what kind of tanks we might see. It's a pretty thrower heavy map as well. So we'll see what the draft is going to be once we get that pulled up onto our screen, but expecting a lot of goal scoring action, and both of these teams are really fun to watch in Brawl Ball.
Oh yeah, just look at the crowd, the amount of passion, the smiles on the people's faces. This is the LAN experience, and I haven't been to a LAN for Brawl Stars since 2022 in fact, so I want to go to a Brawl Stars LAN. I am very envious of the crowd there, Duncan.
Yeah, I still have never been to a Brawl Stars LAN, so I'll have to make my debut once we get another North America one. But we've got our draft pulled up now, guys. Set number 2 between Humble and SK in our grand finals. It is Pinball Dreams, and the bans are Kaze, Willow, Lumi, Cordelius, Willow, and Byron. So Willow getting double banned out. That is a brawler that we've seen kind of start to show her face a lot more on maps like this.
Indeed, and Jay Young coming out, just a great brawler all around, especially in the current situation that he's in right now. But the amount of damage that he can do, especially as a mid brawler on a map like this, he has deceptively long range because the projectile is slightly hard to ascertain how long it actually is. So that's also another reason why you want to go for it. But it's mostly the speed and the fact that you can swap between healing and speeding up your teammates, which makes it a huge brawler to have as an asset. It also ensures that you don't force the other team to figure out your strategy. Right now, we still don't know what SK are going to be going, but all we do know is that Jay Young doesn't really showcase what is in their hand.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the most versatile safe first picks in the game, and we are going to see some crazy picks coming out from Humble in retaliation. It's going to be Meg and El Primo. Neither of these brawlers are would have been my first guesses right there, but I mean, I don't hate it. Meg has a lot of HP, which is Jaeyoung's one weakness is that he doesn't have a ton of damage, so maybe they're just going for a tankier strategy. El Primo, not necessarily the best in a 1v1 interaction, but he is one of the best goal-scoring brawlers in the game. If you can get that super, throw that ball up, and just jump onto it, break all the walls in front of you, and on top of that, you even have a gadget that allows you to throw somebody out of your way, he could be a fantastic brawler. Even if they're getting dominated, you could still see a Primo walk away with 2 sneaky goals.
Oh yeah, the suplex supplement is such a funny gadget. You just walk in, you think you're going to be getting a goal, and then whoop, you get popped out, you get yeeted all the way to the back. So I love that Primo gadget. But right now though, I like this Primo pick because wall break is so useful for getting goals, especially in a map which has a lot of goals around the walls. It also opens up the map for some of your teammates. The Meg is a great brawler for the amount of damage that she can do, the sustain as well. And SK Gaming, I like this composition that they're going. They have the Jaeyoung for the support and the heals. You have unbridled aggression from the Ashe, and obviously Carl. You can't go wrong with Carl. That gadget still, despite the nerf, does quite a number.
Yeah, SK's paired the Jae Young with two brawlers that benefit significantly from the speed and heals that he has to offer. Ashe is just going to be such a menace in this meta with the speed gear, with the Jae Young speed. I mean, if you play a good Ashe, it's very difficult to take him down. Humble is going to continue to add to the aggression on their side with the Hank final pick, though. So honestly, Pan, just looking at these drafts, I don't even know who's going to win, but it looks like it's going to be a fun game, man. We've got 3 tanks on the field. We've got a Meg, a Jae Young, and a Carl. Like, I feel like it's going to be high-flying action all across the board. A little bit crazy that we see Meg, Primo, Hank as a real comp in a grand finals, but I'm willing to hear them out, man. These are the pros.
I mean, you know, if you have a support, a tank, and an aggro, if you're going to be facing a triple tank combination, and that's exactly what Humble are doing right now. They're just doubling down on that, tripling down. In fact, Joker ain't taking out Ope going in with a super, is not able to find the kill on a Luki, unfortunately. And now Hank is going to be picking up the Slack Luki, and knowing that he was going to be the mark to be unseated from the mech, goes back and makes sure that he doesn't take that damage.
This is going to be a fun one to watch, man. We have Humble pretty much dominating positioning right now. Semantic is going to be perfectly content chilling behind these L walls, charging up those big bubbles right there. Boss gets caught on fire, but he does not quite care yet. Luki might be falling out of his mech, but he gets the swipe, and that's going to be massive. Now they have a position where they might be able to score if they can get the ball to Boss. Ope is likely going to be able to hold them off for a little bit of time, barely on enough HP to be able to say that, though.
Indeed. Boss is holding on a ball right-hand side. Just wants to be a little bit of a distraction. His teammate also goes down. So that is because of the fire damage from Ope's gadgets. Just see how oppressive it can still be on a map like this, because multiple brawlers are going to be in situations where they might take that damage. So Carl gets a lot more value than you expect in a lot of situations. Here though, Ope going in with his super, yes, he can out. I am Semantic as well. Jump coming in, entirety of Humble collapsing, but the ball being cleared by Joker is huge in that situation. Now the ball is going to be passed up, and SK have to perform, I don't know, a miracle to get something going as they concede a goal with only a minute to spare.
Yeah, it was smart by Joker to get the ball out, but it was too little too late. They had more than enough time to be able to close that gap, especially with the suplex from Boss. So now things are looking up for Humble, but they're going to super pass the ball to Joker, actually. Maybe trying to catch them lacking a bit, but it's not going to quite come to fruition. Joker has to heal, but he's still going to fall. Luki is the lone remaining member of Humble, but he's got so much HP on that Meg form. He is demeched and taken out, though. So now we see SK might be able to set up a little bit of a spawn trap, but Humble is going to be content cycling these deaths with these tanks.
What I just realized is that Humble is doing the SK special right now to SK themselves at a grand final. A kill is confirmed on OP, but on the other side, Boss also gets taken out. Luki unseated from his mech. It's going to be now or never. 24 seconds. SK need to force the issue right now.
They definitely do, but Joker is going to be going in for that push. Luki does have his mech back, though, so that's more or less like a full respawn. The HP is just too much for SK to overcome, and the way that they're moving, you would think that Humble is trying to score right now, but they're just playing defense. Joker's making a break for it, but I don't think he's going to have enough time or HP to be able to punch this in. Maybe I'm wrong, though. 1 second, and it's not going to be there. Just 1 second short of being able to tie it up at the very end. It looked like Humble was going to be able to walk away with that. They almost squandered it, but the win is still going to be there. Wow.
That was a huge win for Humble. That is definitely going to weigh on SK's emotions going into this next game. To lose like that at the last second, it wasn't even the suplex supplement. It was just the fact that time ran out. That is crazy. We're going to go to game number 2. Humble took the first set and the first game here, and they're looking to close this one out in 3 straight sets, seemingly.
Yeah, that can't feel good for SK, man. I think that they could have punched the ball in, but a little bit unlucky with the timing. And once again, Humble is just going to have too much HP, but Boss chokes the goal. Ope's defense stands strong. That definitely could have been a goal from Humble. We're seeing multiple mistakes from these two fantastic teams. Very out of character for these guys, man.
Yeah, arguably the two top teams in the world right now, and this is uncharacteristic in terms of what we expect to see. Jump coming in from Boss, gets the kill, but gets taken out himself. Hypercharge from Luki, misses everybody. Ope going in with his own hypercharge, gets taken out by Luki, who is still very much on the mech. This is looking great for Humble in terms of positioning.
Yeah, they've got full positioning back. They're going to have a lot of HP coming into this push as well. Boss grabbing the ball, but no super in hand. That is the super that is most impactful for goal scoring on Humble's end, but he's going to be getting it off of Joker. He's getting multiple people connected with that jump. The super shot is there, but it's not going to be on target. Now, Luki is not in his mech. He's not going to have nearly enough HP to get this ball through, but he does get back into his mech form. Might be able to get a kill, but just like that, he pops out again. No shot. No shot! Luki was able to get away with that. Oh my goodness. That is insane.
He did that against SK at a grand finals, at a LAN event. You don't do that to SK now. Boss going in with the hypercharge. He's going completely insane. Breaks open a lot of walls. There are some hypercharges from Ope, but it just looks like Humble is indomitable. So much HP to their names that SK can't compete at all.
Of Madman actually goes for that play in a finals. That is absurd from Lukey, man. Play of the day 100% for sure. But SK's not out of it yet. They are on the defensive end though, and they are still losing. So Boss is going to be the next to fall. Semantic's just going to be trying to hold it down in this corner. That should be enough to take out Joker. The Rats are going to be there. And once again, this man is on a mission. Lukey's not going to choose to go for the goal quite yet. He is content running out the rest of this clock. But this man is actually a man possessed right now. This is insane Meg gameplay. I never thought that I'd see the day.
You just see them getting hypercharged one after the other. Ope popping his own, trying to get something going. He has a super as well, but Lukey has the ball. He's going to try to go for a goal. Not going to be successful in that endeavor. Joker now trying in the last 10 seconds. A very desperate attempt, but that's not going to matter as Lukey popping his hypercharge. He knows that this is over. Passes the ball, tries to get a trick shot in, but that is over. Humble are up 2-0 in terms of set score against SK Gaming and showing us why they are the world champions. Why they are defending international LAN champions.
That's got to be one of the most fun sets I've ever watched, and Humble comes out on top. They are up 2-0, and SK has got the world against them right now. They need to get a bracket reset first and foremost, but they are just on the verge of getting swept by Humble in the finals. This is not what they wanted to see, and the mental has to be tested right now. We got to see how strong these players can be in front of a live audience. Having a fumble like that is devastating, but I believe that these guys might be able to lock it back in. We have set 3 coming up, and they definitely need to be focused and draft and in the game.
Dude, I mean, it's so simple. If you think about it in retrospect, it seemed like, you know, seemingly a great composition, all-rounded composition. They had the support, they had the damage, they had the aggression as well, and the HP. But Humble were like, okay, you take that. We're going to take triple tank and just completely roll over you. You can have all the healing in the world, but if you don't have the damage output, bye-bye, sayonara, and that's what happened. That was crazy.
Yeah, we just saw that even with the HP, though, they were still so good about being opportunistic. Like, I definitely thought that Lukey had no chance of getting a goal there, but with the extra HP that's offered from Meg's kit being able to pop into the tiny Meg form, he was somehow able to find an angle. I cannot wait to watch a replay of that later, Panda. But we have got set 3 pulled up now, guys. It's going to be Bounty, and it's going to be Layer Cake for the map. Once again, Humble does have a 2-0 set lead. This is SK Gaming's last chance to remain alive in this tournament.
I'm still reeling from what we saw in the previous set, but I have to recompose myself because we still have more of this competition. We're gonna go into set number 3. Humble took 2, and now it's gonna be Layer Cake, which is gonna be the 3rd set. It's not an easy map by any means. It's a very difficult map. There are lots of back and forth here, and the compositions are overly aggressive, and it requires a lot of strategy and obviously team communication. So this is not an easy map. This is not a forgiving map. And if you make a mistake, the other team is going to be able to capitalize, with Hank being the first pick, the bans being Gus, Buster, Willow, Kaze, Lumi, and the Gene.
Yeah, another Willow ban. It's kind of crazy. I feel like I might have to start playing this brawler a lot more. But once again, EMEA loves their Hank first picks, and that's exactly what we see Humble staying true to form with. It is a little bit risky with the first pick because it's not that difficult to counter out tanks on this map, and it can be a very big feeder of supers. So if SK goes for a comp, like maybe including a Gray or a Mr. P, they're going to be getting kind of free super off of that Hank. We'll see what SK looks to go with here. Also, Gray is a fantastic brawler to pair with the Hank, I must add. But I think that we should see a little bit of range coming in. Jae Yong is not banned. That's another brawler that is pretty much ever meta. It's going to be permanently meta on a lot of these maps that we see here today, Panda.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Jae Young, except maybe if you face a triple tank combination. Gus coming out here, can't really go wrong with Gus here on this map, right? Specifically, the fact that you can shoot through walls, the fact that you can phase through walls as well is great. You pair it up with a healer, that's also not a bad decision. But there are other healers which are better. Jae Young specifically is one which can dabble with a lot of different ideas. You can be very aggressive, get the speed as well. So it's interesting that they decide to go for Byron instead here.
Yeah, I mean, the Shade pick is interesting as well because usually you like playing Shade when brawlers can't deal with you shooting through walls, but somebody else who can shoot through walls is going to be the Hank, and even with a little bit of additional range. So that's going to be a tough 1v1 for the Shade to come out on top of, but it is going to make it easier for him to charge his super, and maybe with the addition of the Byron heals, they're going to be hoping that the Shade can come out on top of that, but it's definitely looking like a little bit of a questionable comp coming in from SK so far. We'll see what Humble chooses to pair up with this Hank. Like I said earlier, wouldn't be surprised if it's a Gray, wouldn't be surprised if it's a Jae Young. Multiple different supports that can support that tank in different ways.
For sure. We're still waiting on Humble's next 2 picks, so we finally do get them. It's going to be the Jae Young along with the Carl, so we get the better support. We also get the Carl as well, so they have a pretty well-rounded composition. It's exactly the composition that SK Gaming took in the last set, so it's a little bit of a salt in the wounds. Like, you know, you played that composition. It's a great comp, but we can probably play it better, and it feels very much like that.
That's a great point there, Panda. I didn't even realize that we're getting a little disrespectful in the draft meta here, but I guess that's how Humble's feeling. They got to be feeling on top of the world here. Everything would have to go wrong for them to not walk away with this $10,000 title right here. But SK's got one last pick to try to make things right here. I do think that they need a pretty significant amount of damage, and we are going to see another banger set right here, man. I mean, we've got the Frank coming out on Layer Cake. Like, is this even Brawl Stars anymore? I can't even tell if this is my Diamond Lobbies or if this is the OWN Valencia Championship, but I love this draft. It definitely makes sense into the Hank and into the Carl, but it's going to be a little bit difficult to pull it off and get those kills without dying yourself.
Yeah, I feel like this is similar to the first set. I felt like this draft kind of got away from SK a little bit. I would have obviously opted for the Jae Young instead, but we're gonna go into set number 3 in this grand finals against Humble and SK. It's a reprisal of the Brawl Cup, but this time Humble want to get their revenge, but SK want to get their revenge, but it's seemingly not to be the case here. As Joker gets taken down, they get the blue star. It's a complete team wipe right off the bat, and it's the Humble show, and SK are just spectators.
SK's mental has to be suffering right now, but it's not over yet. They got to find a way to focus in here, though. That was the worst possible start that they could have asked for, and Ope is just going to run through and hand over 2 more stars. Might as well. Joker's trying to get some supercharge here. He has it online, but who is he going to be able to kill, man? It's going to take so many slaps for him to be able to take out any of these members on Humble. Ope's moving up here with a couple of Byron heals, but Luki has that hypercharge. The additional speed is going to be enough to dodge out of that. Super well played to Luki, and I just have not seen anything go right for SK this entire set. Luki MVP, this is crazy stuff.
Dude was, he got 1 kill. He's like, nah, I'm not done. Just hold my beer. I'm going to go for some more. He gets double kills again. Another kill being popped out by Semantic. Joker gets taken down. Ope manages to find a stun. And finally on the board is SK. But look at the stars. 19 stars to Humble. They just need 1 more. Ope going in with a hypercharge. Should surely get the stun off on Luki. He does. And now it's SK coming back. And how? There's a 7-star differential. It is still very much Humble's game. But they still need to be careful about how they're playing this one. You don't want to lose it because you're very, very aggressive and happy about how things are going on.
Yeah, that's a big turnaround right there, and Luki's going to be dying as well. So now if Semantic goes down, that is going to be the lead transferring over to the side of SK. Semantic has to be very careful with his life, but after a dominant start, SK has managed to lock back in, get this game back into reach. Joker's going to be going in for this final push right here, but it's not going to be enough right there. Humble was able to lock in, keep the defensive line strong. We see the teammates discussing the strategy here after they almost choked an absolutely massive lead, but overall, that looked very smooth for Humble. I think that they have the comp. It's just going to have to come down to not choking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they went so aggressively at the start. It felt like everything was going good, but then we saw the resurgence from SK Gaming, and that really put me in pause. I felt like it was completely in Humble's wheelhouse, but, you know, they were able to collect themselves and ensure their victory towards the end. We're going to game number 2, and already the blue star, a kill as well. Ope getting taken down, and it's the same story from the previous game. Humble are already on match point, Duncan.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see if Humble is going to go and keep that aggression up like they did last time. It looked like they might have regretted how close that they made it at the end, but Luki is not caring. He's going in anyway. Semantic is likely going to fall down here, but still a 4-star lead. Boss is in a bad spot, though, and he's going to drop with the blue star as well. He's somehow able to take Yoshi with him, though, so 3-star lead sitting on the side of Humble. SK does have the blue, though, so if they're able to kill Luki, it's going to be their advantage.
Yeah, if you're overly egregious, which Humble has been doing, they get caught up in the moment, I guess, and then they get caught out by SK Gaming. So they need to be careful about how they go about doing this one. Yes, you have the lead, but don't be overly aggressive. Don't be overly emotional. You got to be playing this very, very closely and carefully. And Ope just given license to move up into the grass on the left-hand side. That's a little crazy. Joker going in, forcing the aggression here as well. But so far, it's still dependent on SK to make the move.
Yeah, Ope has that super ready to go, but I think he's going to be waiting for the end of the game at this point. They know that they just need to kill Luki, but it looks like by trapping Luki in the back spawn, they've also given Semantic some room to move up. He's going for a kill onto Joker, not going to get away with it quite yet, but it is going to bait out Joker's super, so a little bit less utility online for him. He's still going for the kill. He falls quite weak, and once again, Luki is able to use his Carl super to get out of Ope's Frank super. The maneuverability on that Carl is absolutely ridiculous, and things look like it would be very difficult for SK to bring this back.
Yeah, only 15 seconds left. Humble on match point. Ope very aggressive with his super. He also has the heals from Yoshi on the left-hand side. It's now or never for SK Gaming. Ope going in. He goes in for the pull. He gets a kill. It's 2 more that they need. Boss is going to be stunned. He gets taken out. It's SK, but no, in the end, it's Humble who managed to take the dub. There is no doubt. There is no question and no equal. Humble cannot be denied and are now Los Reos de Valencia.
10 games played in this tournament, 10 games won by Humble. They were so dominant the entire time. Definitely the best team in the tournament, and oh boy did they prove it today. Taking home the grand finals in a 3-0 sweep, no bracket reset, no set 5, no double match point, none of that from Humble. They are leaving no questions as they walk away with the prize from OWN Valencia. Fantastically played to Humble. SK gave it their all. They almost had a chance to come back in that last game, but there was clearly one team that came to this tournament prepared and that kind of dominated the rest of the competition.
My question is right now,
Señores, qué auténtico espectáculo de partido. Un fuerte aplauso para esta competición que ha sido una locura. Grandes sensaciones.
Results do not really reflect that, but let's
damas
go
y
back to the main
caballeros,
show. Let's see what they're
quiero un
talking about.
fuerte calor y energía para los campeones del mundo y también de esta OWN Valencia 2025. Que vengan por aquí. Se hacen los remolones, veniros conmigo. Quiero un fuerte calor y energía para Humble. Bueno, vamos a hacer ruido a la de 3 para que levanten el trofeo. 1, 2, 3, ¡ruido!
Let's go.
Boss, Luki y Symantec se alzan con la victoria por la vía rápida. No sé si alguno de vosotros quiere decir unas palabras. ¿Sí?
Chat, I want to know one thing, chat. Who is your MVP from the grand finals? For me, it has to be Luki. The number of crazy plays he made, especially with that leg play, was crazy. So let me know in the chat, who is your MVP for this
en una vía
grand
absolutamente
finals?
ascendente. No perdéis nada. ¿Cómo os habéis visto aquí en Valencia y cuáles son los planes de futuro?
Bueno, la gente ya nos tenía miedo, el LAN no nos ha ganado a nadie aún y se va a seguir así hasta el infinito, esperemos. Y bueno, la final la verdad es que me esperaba más reñida, en 3-0, pero las partidas muy igualadas.
Bueno, es lo que tiene ser una pisonadora. Al final, si sois muy bueno, pues al final, aunque esté igualado, siempre hay un punto más que te hace llegar a la victoria. Siguiente objetivo, ¿cuál tenéis?
Ganar el Mundial otra vez.
¡Oh, eso! Nada más y nada menos. Nada más y nada menos. Objetivo mundial. Dobles campeones. Y poco más. ¿Algo que quieras añadir? ¿Algún mensaje lanzar a tus oponentes?
Bueno, muchas gracias a todos los fans por apoyarnos. Ha sido increíble todas las fotos que me he hecho con todo el mundo. Se nota mucho el apoyo que estamos en España. Estoy muy agradecido.
Sí, la verdad que estáis muy pegados, la gente os quiere muchísimo, o sea, es increíble las colas que se forman en el backstage para acceder a vosotros, echáis unas fotos y tal, y nada, sobre todo, ¿qué tal la experiencia de Valencia en esta OWN de 2025?
Pues la verdad es que muy bien, todo mi equipo lo ha disfrutado mucho también, además creo que nunca había hecho una competición en España y todo lo hemos disfrutado mucho.
Damas y caballeros, fuerte aplauso para Boss y para Humble, que se llevan el campeonato una vez más y apuntan al campeonato mundial de nuevo. ¡Qué bárbaro! ¡Qué bárbaro, señores! Y sobre todo, llevaros también vuestros trofeos en miniatura de recuerdo que son una barbaridad. Señores, volvemos a Casters y antes de nada, muchas gracias a todos que habéis sido de los mejores públicos de eSport que yo haya visto. Aplaudiendo, haciendo ruido y de todo, una barbaridad, me ha encantado. Gracias, Valencia.
Okay, so I just wanted to go back and like talk about what we saw, right? Just in terms of the interview, I don't know Spanish, but based off of some of the words and the context clues that I got, they were just asking a boss about, you know, how he feels and who he wants to thank. And I heard that he was talking about like the audience, the people in Spain, that this was a premier tournament in Spain, and he wanted to thank the fans who showed up. Again, I'm not a Spanish speaker, so I don't know. So you guys have to correct me in chat. But you know, they're humble, obviously, but like the humbleness is definitely on display. You see them being very like flamboyant on social media, but when you interact with these guys, you know how genuine they actually are. So congratulations to Humble for winning this in a 3-0. My hands are shaking because of how electric that was. My adrenaline is at an all-time high. I think that was probably one of the most dominant finals that I've ever seen in my life in a grand finals, but more so, it was so clean from Humble. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was super clean. I mean, we never saw them lose a single game of OWN. That's like insane to me. They had 10 games, they won all of them. They didn't lose they played everybody. They didn't lose to a single person. Somebody said that the closest they came to losing was Heretics. I believe that is correct, but I mean, a 3-0 sweep in the finals, and they didn't even have to necessarily win that. They could have had the bracket reset, but I mean, I've never seen a more deserving winner of a tournament than Humble winning this tournament. Completely dominant from start to finish. And it wasn't even like it was dominant in a way that wasn't fun to watch, because, oh boy, those games were electric, man. We had some absolutely unforgettable moments from this, and just it feels like a great way to wrap up my first tournament that I've ever casted. So Panda, again, thank you to you for letting me join you on this journey, man. Had a fantastic time watching, and thank you to everybody who was watching in the chat as well, man. It was an amazing experience.
Thank you everybody for showing up, and you know, I think the players delivered on the promise that we gave you at the start, that this was going to be an electrifying day, 2 days, and honestly, you can't really complain by seeing what you saw. The display was crazy. Thank you so much for the production, for all the work behind the scenes to make this event as good as it was. Thank you to the players for participating, and obviously to you guys, the fans, for showing up, because without you, I mean, what would be the point of actually having these tournaments, right? So thank you to the sponsors as well, and OWN trusting us, Duncan and me, for being casters for the English part of the stream. And also, just a few more messages. Make sure you subscribe to Duncan on his YouTube. He has content every single day regarding ranked. He also does streams once a week, so make sure you subscribe to Duncan. He is a really great, talented content creator. Make sure you subscribe to me. I have an Ali video where I got her to tier max like within 2 hours. Really crazy. Even a hard stuck Diamond 3 player like me can do that. But finally, make sure to use code PAN in any of the Supercell games, because that would be great. Thank you for all of the support, and any final closing words for you, Duncan?
Nah, I don't have much, man. Well said by you, but just want to say, guys, hope you all had a great time watching these tournament games from the league phase to the finals. It was an electric roller coaster of emotions the entire time. I had a fantastic time, and I look forward to casting more of these pro tournaments, but make sure you guys keep on watching Brawl Esports, support Brawl Esports, and hopefully it'll be even bigger next time around. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.